Hi guys, Stelic here. Sisters of Battle, Part 2. Um, so I'm gonna look at the stratagems now. Um, where I left off was I finished up the relics, with our wonderful little D3 or D6 against demons, mortal wounds thing. The Light of Saint Agnathea, I guess. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. Um, so anyway, let's uh, let's work through the stratagems so you can see that there's quite a bit of not cynicism, different stratagems that work well together with others. There's it just does. So anyhow, let me see here. Um, the synergies. Um, yeah. So let's go to stratagems. I think I'm finally there. All right. So open the reliquaries. Yeah. 1 CP, you get 1 extra relic. I don't see another option for more. So I guess they figured out that that's dumb. So, embodied prophecy. Use a stratagem at the start of the fight phase. Select 1 Zephyrim squad unit from your army. To the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a melee weapon by a model in a friendly Adeptus Sororitas unit within 6 inches of that Zephyrim unit, reroll a wound of 1. Okay, put me to sleep. So, yeah, I guess if you go in with a close combat unit, they can reroll wounds at 1. Okay, it's 1 CP, whatever. Furious Recital, 1 CP. These are all generic ones. I'll tell you when they're not generic. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when an extra model from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of the turn, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristics of models in enemy units while their unit is within 12 inches of that exorcist model. Subtract 2 if it's a chaos unit. Cool. I'm not going to say it's stupid, but it's pretty questionable, the value of this. So I don't think it's valuable at all. So, Blazing Piety. Use the stratagem at the start of your second phase. Select 1 enemy chaos unit within 6 inches of any Dialogus models from your army. That enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. If that enemy unit is a demon unit, it suffers D3 mortal wounds instead. 1 CP. These are what I like to call filler stratagems. They're very situational and not very useful. Battle rights. These are all 1 CPs for a while. Use this stratagem at the start of the battle round if your warlord has the Sacred Rights ability and is on the battlefield. So select 1 active Sacred Right, roll 1d6 to randomly generate a new Sacred Right. You may re-roll the result if the new Sacred Right is the same one as the one that is currently active. The selected Sacred Right is no longer active, and the new Sacred Right is active. So it's not as good as the Adeptus Mechanicus, where you can just change your canticles. This one, you get a reroll if you get the same one, but you can't just go, this is what I change it to. I'd rather have that ability, but that's probably too strong. So, Moment of Grace. 1 CP. Use a stratagem after making a hit roll or wound roll for an attack made by a sister's unit or model from your army, or after making a saving throw. Discard 1 to 3 miracle dice. Add 1 to the result of the roll for each miracle dice you discarded. Um, I don't know why you use that. Why don't you just use the? It's like you would just use, like, this is when you get rid of your ones and go, hey, I rolled a 2 to hit. I need a 3. I discard that, and it costs you a CP, and you convert those low dice into a hit chance. I guess it's like, all right. So whatever. It's not that it's bad. It's just I think there's better ways to do miracle dice manipulation. So, Final Redemption. Also 1 CP. Use a stratagem when a Sister Repentia unit from your army is chosen as the target for an attack made with a melee weapon. To the end of that phase, roll 1d6 when a model in that unit is destroyed as a result of an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in an enemy unit, as opposed to a friendly unit. Just dumb. On a 4+, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound after it has fought. So basically every time you lose a model in a Sister Repentia unit on a 4+, you take a mortal wound. So I would say that's not terrible. If you have a large unit of Sisters of Repentia, I would expect it to get shot to death before it does anything. You have a small unit, I would expect it to get shot to death before it does anything. But I guess we'll see. We'll look at the Repentia unit and see if it's still shitty. I would assume that it is. Um, Martyr's Immolation, 1 CP. Use this stratagem when an immolator model from your army is destroyed. Do not roll a dice for that model's explodes ability. It automatically explodes. Okay. So you can make your immolator blow up automatically. That's actually not bad. So use it. We'll see how bad it is. I would assume it's D3 mortal wounds to all units within X, but we'll see. Holy Trinity, 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase after you have declared how you'll split the shots of an Adeptus Sororitas unit from your army. If that unit shoots all of its weapons at the same target, and that target is within the range of at least one bolt weapon, one flame weapon, so it's within 8 inches generally, and one melta weapon being shot by a model in the unit, until the end of a phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So I'm assuming that the sergeants can have combat weapons. So you can outfit your squad the way that you need to, and if you have your squad sergeant, whatever she is, she could have a combat weapon and have a melta, right, or a flamer, and then trigger that. Even if you don't hit, you can add 1 to the wound roll, which is good for the bolter weapons, right? That's the part that matters. So, Heroine in the Making, 1 CP. Use the stratagem before the battle after nominating your warlord. Select one sister's character model from your army other than your warlord, and this is a silly list. Celestine, Junith Iruta, or the Triumph of St. Catherine, and generate 1 warlord trait for it. It is regarded as your warlord for the purposes of that warlord trait. Each warlord trait in your army must be unique. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. So anyway, it's yeah. So let's see if I'm not getting this. Like my brain is just not accepting it. So oh, okay, sorry, my brain just fried. So I was just reading it backwards. So you re-roll it if you're randomly generating it, which is just silly. You just pick. So you would pretty much always want to do this if you have 2 characters. So if you have a battalion, which I expect most people will, because the stuff that you can get off of that is quite good, especially if you have a different order, right? And we'll talk about this when we're doing armor creation stuff. But I would expect people to go, here's my order, and it's my brigade or my battalion, and figure out whatever else they want and go with that theme. But if they're going to go with a sisters army, they're either, like it's going to be sisters or nothing else. They're going to have their battalion because it's cheap and gives you CPs, and then they're going to have, or they're going to have a brigade and not really have any other detachments that matter, right? That have a bunch of points in them. Not for sisters anyway. Or they're going to do 3 different orders, and each order will do something for your army based on what that order is actually good at. So and the order warlord traits, some of them synergize quite well with the abilities of the order, right? And so that's where you would do that. So I would expect that to actually get used quite a bit. Divine Intervention. When a character other than, why they have lists, I don't know. Other than Celestine, Gemini, Superia, Junith, Iruta, or the Triumph of St. Catherine from your army is destroyed, before any miracle dice are gained as a result, discard 1 to 3 miracle dice at the end of the phase. Return that model to play with the number of wounds remaining equal to the number of miracle dice you discarded, placing it as close as possible to its previous position and more than 1 inch away from any enemy models. You do not gain a miracle dice for the destruction of that model this turn. Each character can only be returned to the battlefield by this stratagem once per battle. That's 2 CPs. So neat. You can bring your warlord back and place her someplace, and okay, cool. Holy Rage, 1 CP. Use this at the start of your charge phase. Select 1 sister's unit from your army. That unit can charge even if it advances turn. Remember earlier when I was in the previous review where I was talking about where you can take the ability to run forward. You advance, and then you're rapid firing your weapons, and then you pull this and go, hey, I can charge. Not that you necessarily would always want to, but you could, if you wanted to, you could charge something and go, here, I'll go tie up this tank. I'll shoot these guys to death with my rapid fire shooting after I advance 10 inches. So you just, it's your move. So you go, oh, I rolled a 4, and then I get an extra 1, so I'm going to go 11, right? Or I rolled a 3, and that will get you 10. So anyway, so that's what that's for. So you can run ahead of everybody and do your nonsense, and then still assault. So anyhow, Faith and Fury. Use this stratagem after you perform an act of faith for a hit roll. You can reuse the same miracle dice for the wound roll for that attack. So you figure out what you need to hit, and it's 2 CP, right? The last one was just a 1 CP, but you figure out what you need to hit. Let's say you're not shooting at a flyer, or you're shooting at an Imperial Knight, and it's whatever. You normally need a 3+ to hit it. Well, if you're firing multi-melt at it, odds are you need a 4+. So you just say, I'll just change the 4. So there you go. I hit you automatically. I wound you automatically. Enjoy your D6 wounds, unless you have a invulnerable save, which they do, right? They're 5 up. So that's useful. It's not really useful when it's something else. That doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, like a bolter hit. That would be pointless. So, martyred. Yeah, and so that would be. And Faith and Fury. I don't think that's 2 acts of faith. Even though you're reusing a miracle die, I don't know. I don't know. Technically, it probably is. It's probably not meant to be written that way, but I could see. Remember, we were talking in the last review about generating, uh, getting rid of bad dice with your warlord by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna re-roll that. I'm gonna use this dice up." But let's say you use the dice. It costs you 2 CP, but you get, you take a 2 and you can roll it twice. Basically, after your warlord uses it, and you go, oh, well, I'm performing the act of faith for a hit roll. I would assume reusing the miracle dice for the wound roll would also be an act of faith. So it's just you have to do the first act of faith first, and the second one is an act of faith, and then you can just use it for that. So that would be an interesting way, even though it's 2 CPs and it's expensive, where you could actually sit there and generate. For every 1 die you spend, you get to roll it, right? Except it says you get the same miracle dice. So would you roll it after the first use, and then if you got a 1, go, well, I got another shot at it, so I'll roll it again? Or would you, I don't know, would you roll it and then have to roll it again? Because I don't know. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. Martyred, 1 CP. Use the stratagem, the end of which your warlord was destroyed. If it was a sister's model, if your warlord is Celestine, perform any rolls for the model's miraculous intervention ability before using the stratagem. The stratagem may not be used if your warlord is returned to the battlefield using the miraculous intervention ability or the divine intervention stratagem. You gain D3 command points. Cool. Venerated Saint, 1 CP. So use this stratagem during deployment after you've set up an Imagifer model from your army. You can select 2 different tails for that model's Litany of Deeds ability instead of 1. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. So I want to assume you're going to want to use that one too, even though I haven't actually looked at that yet. I guess we'll see. So Suffer Not the Witch. Use the stratagem at the start of the shooting or fight phase. Select 1 sister's unit from your army until the end of that phase when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against a second unit. You can reroll the wound roll. So if this is to make the Condemner bolt gun not suck, it doesn't work. But thanks for that. The Condemner bolt gun strength is in that you just exchange a miracle dice, right? And so this is the thing that's stupid. So you do Faith and Fury, which is 2 CP. And granted, this is only 1 CP, but you can re-roll the wound roll. It's like, okay, I only have 1 CP, great, I'll use it. But why don't you just spend 2 CP and go, I hit your Hive Tyrant with my bolt gun on a 5, and then I wound you with the bolt gun on a 5. See what I'm saying? Why would you do anything else? Why would you go, well, I got to roll twice at a 5+? It's like, well, why do that? That doesn't seem smart. It's only strength 5 gun, so you know. Um, so the next page, Storm of Retribution, 2 CP. Use the stratagem when a Retributor squad from your army fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot with. Select one of the following. And until the end of the phase, heavy bolters get +1 to hit. You can reroll the wound roll with heavy flamers, or add 12 inches to the range characteristic of multi-meltas models in that unit are equipped with, and when resolving an attack made with a multi-melta by a model in that unit, add 1 to the damage roll. So that's pretty good, and that's probably what will get used the most is multi-melta retributors. Move them up, fire at 36. If you're lucky, somebody's with an 18, cool. You roll 2d6, discard, and then ta-da, you get a 3, you add 1 of the damage rolls, 4 damage, right? Cool. But it works on all of the multi-meltas. So that's the cool part is basically it's if you have the 4 multi-meltas sitting in your Retributor squad and you get them to all be in range and they all hit, they all do whatever, they're going to wound. That's when you go, oh, hey, I'm going to add an extra 4 damage to because 4 of them hit, 4 of them, wounded you. Here you go. And there's different CPs that you can spend. See how, like with all of the CPs, they can be very spendy. So I think that's popular. The +1 for heavy bolters is cool. It's like, okay, +1 to hit. It helps you hit things that you wouldn't normally hit, but I don't think you're going to be firing heavy bolters at flyers. You know, sorry, at units that are flyers that are airborne that you have the -1 to hit. I don't think that's going to be like, woohoo, I'm firing strength 5. It's like, yeah, okay. Wounding on 5s is not something where you go, man, that's awesome. So, um, last rites. Use this stratagem at the start of the morale phase. Select one hospitaller model from your army until the end of that phase when a morale test is taken for a friendly sisters unit within 6 inches of that model. Do not add the number of models from that unit that have been destroyed that turn. Meh. Okay. So you can just say, I'll pass the test. That's what that does. Devastating Refrain. Use this stratagem when an exorcist model from your army fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot with. Till the end of the phase, you can reroll any or all of the dice rolled to determine the type characteristic of an exorcist missile launcher or exorcist configuration rockets that model is equipped with. So if that's helpful. You have at least one exorcist in your army. So yeah. So and again, it's whatever that model is. So it's not like for all your exorcists, even though it says from your army, it's that particular exorcist because it says the dice rolled by the weapon system that model is equipped with. It's not for all of your exorcists or 1 CP. That'd be really good because then they'll get used every turn. Deadly Descent. Use a stratagem after a Seraphim squad unit from your army is set up on the battlefield from high in the sky. It increases your pistol range weapon by 6 inches. And the unit can shoot as if it were shooting face first. So for 1 CP, you drop down, you can shoot people in range now, and they can shoot right then. So, Vessel of the Emperor's Will, 1 CP. Use the stratagem after you perform an act of faith for a sister's unit from your army. Gain 1 miracle dice. Okay, so this lets you just basically convert 1 command point into 1 miracle die. So real easy. You just say, I would like a miracle die. Now you have to be on your character. You gain a miracle dice for it. You still have to roll it, etc. But it's still that's basically just here. I'll convert command points into miracle dice. So, Test of Faith 1 CP. Use a stratagem at the end of a phase in which you gain a miracle dice as a result of purity or valor. As described on page 75. Gain D3 miracle dice in addition to the one you would normally gain. Hey, look, I convert 1 CP into 1 to 3 miracle dice. So, exceptional proficiency, 2 CP. So basically, you always want to make sure you kill your opponent because you don't want them getting a pool of miracle dice, which they will. And they will make you sad for doing so. Exceptional proficiency. Use a stratagem when a Celestian squad from your army fires Overwatch or chosen to fight or shoot or fight with. Some of these are just shoot, not fight with. Till the end of the phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. So that's 2 CPs to make Celestians good, really good. And we'll look in the army list and see how they are. Blessed Bolts. Use a stratagem when a sister's infantry unit from your army fires Overwatch or chosen to shoot with. Till the end of the phase, Storm Bolters that models in that unit are equipped with have an armor penetration characteristic of -2 and a damage characteristic of 2. And fuck your Primaris models. That's basically what that says. That's 1 CP. So, Purity of Faith. Use this stratagem when an enemy psychic model manifests a psychic power within 24 inches of a sister's unit from your armory. After any denial which they attempt, roll one die, d6 on a 4+. That psychic power is resisted. So note the resisted. So you don't have to do the act of faith to trigger it. You should always try, but you can also just say, hey, I don't want you to smite me, so I'm going to do Purity of Faith, and on a 4+, if I didn't pass through your bullshit before, on a 4+, I just turn your psychic faith and stuff off. But when you go back to the start of the book and look at stuff, and you go, what is it? Sorry, not the start of the book, the page 75, the past the painting section where you can see things. And you look at Shield of Faith. So you can attempt to resist one psychic power. And so that lets you do that, and then you can add more dice to it. And so that's all good, right? That's all good stuff. And then we want to look at the not the weapons of the faith. Sorry, they have this giant picture of a sister's army being ridiculous. And then we want to find the I think it was a warlord rule. Yeah, which is actually the next page. Duh. So I'm on 104, and I'm going to 106. So let's see. I'm trying to see if there's a thing for psychic powers. I thought there was. There's just the pure of will. Let's see. Nope. Heroic interventions, act of faith. No, I don't see anything that goes. That's what you do. Like, you don't get something there, so it's probably the order convictions. So let me read them again. Read right through them. So, nope. So, don't see anything. Sorry, I thought there was a thing for the psychic stuff, but my brain is not recalling it. Maybe it was just an earlier one. There's a psychic thing you can use, but it seems like there's ways to deny the witch. It's probably the main army rules. Sorry, it's right. Okay, so purity, that would trigger on that, because that's so you're trying not to use an act of faith. You don't want to do a miracle die, right? So you can gain a miracle dice from the purity of faith if on the 4+ you resist it. So that's yeah, and I wish they would just say it's denied, but that's not what they say. They say that it's resisted. It's like, okay, cool. So anyway, so that's what you would do. You use a CP give you a 50/50 at generating an extra miracle die, because it is resisted as long as you have the acts of faith, right? So if it doesn't have acts of faith, you could use that on something in this book, but it won't trigger unless you have acts of faith, which a lot of things, most of them do. Judgment of the Faithful, 2 CP. All those other things were 1 CP except for exceptional proficiency, which was 2. So use a stratagem after a sister's unit from your army falls back. You can shoot during the shooting phase and charge in the charge phase of this turn. Okay, that's good. So you can fall back and then shoot and charge. So groovy. And the way I look at it is something that you want to pull out of close combat. Cool. I can do it, but you can do it so that both a unit can shoot, or a unit can fall out and then charge again, right? Because you get bonuses for charging, right? That's why you want to do that. Because there's lots of bonuses you can stack up to go. I get an extra attack. It's my warlord. It's my arcoflagellants, and they get rerolls to hit. That's what you want to see. Extremist trigger word. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when an arcoflagellants unit from your army is chosen to fight with. Till the end of the phase, change the ability of arcoflails models in that unit are equipped with to make 3 hit rolls for each attack made with this weapon instead of 1. At the end of that phase, roll 1d6 for each model in that unit. For each 6 one model in that unit is destroyed. Yeah, so can't activate those, by the way. They're not on the list. But it's still here. This is what I can do. I can go crazy and get a bunch of hits. So you see the Arco Flagellants coming, any close combat unit like that, you should definitely shoot them to death. Desperate for Redemption, 3 CP. Use this stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select one Penitent Engines, Mortifiers, or Sister Pension unit from your army within 1 inches of the enemy units. That unit from your army can fight as if it were the fight phase. So it's your free fight. So that's why it's 3 CP. So you go in and you fight, and then the enemy does whatever, and then you consolidate up, and then you get to fight again and blow up whatever it is. So, cool. Honor the Martyrs, 1 CP. Use the stratagem when an Order of our Martyred Lady character model from your army is destroyed as a result of a... Oh, so this is only for Order of the Martyred Lady. Everything else was Adeptus Sororitas. So here comes their 6 stratagems. When a character is destroyed as a result of an attack made by an enemy unit until the end of the battle, when resolving an attack made by a model in an Order of our Martyred Lady unit from your army against that enemy unit, reroll a hit of 1. Okay. Very situational. Blind Faith, 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the start of your shooting phase, selecting one Order of the Valorous Heart unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, ignore hit roll modifiers. So these would be the people that you want to shoot down planes, right? And you go, hey, this is my Order of the Valorous Heart, and they do their stuff, and I have an Exorcist over here, and fuck your planes. So, though, this is basically an alternative to Miracle Dice. So if you're not generating Miracle Dice or you want to use them for something else, you could just go, I'll use that. And you can still combine it, right? You can say, I don't have any 6s because I need a 6 because you're stinky Eldar, right? I can't hit you. Yay, Alotok, and it's a flyer. I can't hit you. So reduce it to 5+, and you just say, okay, here's my unmodified 6, and I'll use Blind Faith. I can hit you. No. And then you trigger the other ability, which is, lets you exchange that, or reuse that dice, and congratulations, you not only hit them, but you win them. Tear them down. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when an Order of the Bloody... All these are 1 CP, except for the next one. All the Order ones. Bloody Rose, when any unit from your army of that Order is chosen to fight with until the end of the phase when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in that unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So that's good. Because if you're going to go melee, then you add 1 to the wound roll, so it helps. Cleansing Flames were actually it's better than adding strength. So Cleansing Flames is 2 CP. It's for Ebon Chalice. When Order the Ebon Chalice unit from your army fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot with until the end of the phase, do not roll to determine the type characteristics of flame weapons models that units are equipped with. They have their maximum values. E.g., a heavy D6 weapon makes 6 shots. So high heavy flamer retributors, I guess I'm going to drop you off and I'm going to blow something up with 24 guaranteed shots for 2 CPs. Seems good. Faith is our shield. 1 CP. This is Argent Shroud. When a model in your use a stratagem in the second phase when a model in your Order of the Argent Shroud unit from your army would lose a model as a result of a mortal wound. Till the end of that phase, when a model in that unit would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6 on a 5+. That wound is not lost. So you can make the super, the Argent Shroud people and just say, I don't want to die to your psychers. Just remember, Argent Shroud are the people who advance and then fire range weapons if they had moved without advancing. So they have the -1 for firing that, and they can fire their rapid fire weapons. So that's what they do. So that's okay, I guess. I think it's more useful for non-sisters units. 10-point model, 1 wound, who cares? You want to smite me? Smite me. It's the other people who have multiple wounds that you would want that on. So the Emperor's Judgment, Order of the Sacred Rose. When an Order of the Sacred unit fires or is firing Overwatch or shooting, till the end of the phase when resolving an attack made with a bolt weapon by a model in that unit, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. So I could see saying for Order of the Sacred Rose people, remember they're the morale test people, and when they resolve Overwatch, 5 or 6 scores a hit. So you can get extra hits out of them. So they're a different kind of defensive. They're a preventative defensive, where the other people, like the Valorous Heart, um, those sisters are just hard to drop. They're just they ignore a lot of your AP, and then they have a 5+ invulnerable if you take the Warlord that gives that out, right? Where with the Emperor's Judgment, you just say, hey, I'm going to spend a CP, and I get extra hits, and that's good because you want to be able to do that. Especially you combine that with the exceptional proficiency, because it's not because exceptional proficiency lets you re-roll the hit roll and re-roll the wound roll when you're firing Overwatch with Celestians. So Celestians for 3 CPs, in Sacred Rose, yeah. So in Overwatch, they hit on 5+, you get to re-roll them. On 6s, you get an extra hit. It's just, see, it adds up. So anyway, so those are the stratagems. I've gone through everything else, so let's dig into the units. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. All right. So a Canoness is, I don't even know if they're much changed. It doesn't look like it. They can have a Condemner bolt gun, which is not really different than anything else. It's strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. The relic bolt gun is better, but this bolt gun is not really better. But it enables you to take the other relic, I guess. So the Blessed Blade. Yeah, so let's see. This model's equipped with a chainsword. It can have a brazier of holy fire or a null rod. So cool. And it has a 4+ invulnerable. Reroll hit rolls for 1s for all friendly order units while their unit is within 6 inches of this model. The lead the righteous ability is they add 3 inches to it with the Rod of Office, which is something you could you just get, I guess. Where's the thing that says? Oh, if this model is equipped with 1 bolt gun and 1 power sword, it additionally has a Rod of Office. So that's all you can take. And then if this model has a null rod, which you can have, it cannot be targeted or affected by psychic powers. In addition, whilst any models from your army that have null rods are within 18 inches of any enemy psychic models, subtract 1 from psychic tests and deny the witch test taken for those enemy models. So that's good. So again, with the null rod and all the other stuff, so you can be a very anti-psyker army, right? As I said earlier. So. And the Brazier of Holy Fire is not really any difference. It's a pretend flamer. It just yeah. This is once per battle. The other Brazier lets you recharge it with the Miracle Dice, right? This one lets you on a 2+. They take D3 mortal wounds. So, and if it's a demon, they take more. So, yeah. So here's the interesting thing. So it's just a Canoness, and it doesn't. I don't see a jump pack option. So yeah, so that's too bad. Because I always enjoyed having a jetpack canvas. I would assume it's so they can sell the other character models. Because they probably will have jetpacks or move faster or are big. Yeah, so bolt pistol, chainsword, frag, and crack grenades, and you don't get a jump pack option. No. All right, moving on. Celestine, and of course, there's no points values for all this listed here. So let me thumbnail stick my thumb in the points section. Points values. Okay, so Candace has 45 points. Name character Celestine is still 160 because it doesn't matter how many years she's around, she's 160 points. So she has the Ardent Blade. Cool. You can only have 1 model. She has a bunch of attacks, just the same stat line as a Canoness, but she has a jump pack, right? She has a jump pack with fly. So, yeah. So the Ardent Blade is strength 7, and minus 3 AP and 2 damage in melee. So, because it's plus 4 strength. Um, so the invulnerable save friendly Adeptus Auritus infantry models receive from the Shield of Faith abilities are improved by 1, while their unit is within 6 inches of this model is improved by 2 instead if it is a Gemini superior unit to maximum 4 plus. In addition, models in friendly Ministorum or Astra Militarum units have a 6 plus invulnerable save while their unit is within 6 inches of this model, not wholly within, just within. Healing Tears at the start of your movement phase, you can select one friendly Gemini superior unit within 3 inches of this model. The unit contains a model that has lost any wounds. That model regains its lost wounds. Otherwise, if a model from that unit has been destroyed, you return to the battlefield with 2 wounds remaining, placing within 3 inches of this model and in unit coherency. If the unit cannot be placed in this way, it is not returned to the battlefield. So as always, things like this, when you can do that, lets you break the rules because, and I don't say this to be like, hey, I want to be that guy. I'm saying this because don't write rules that are bad rules. And you can place it in coherency. I can place it within 3 inches of this model and also place it within 1 inch of the enemy. Why not? It's not setting it up. I'm just placing a unit back to life. And look, and now I'm in combat with you. I don't have to charge. I'm just in combat. Whatever. Armor of St. Catherine, so they have it's a 2 plus 4 plus is what she's got. She doesn't have any way to avoid mortal wounds. She has Miraculous Invention. The first time she's destroyed, rolling 1d6 at the end of the phase. Yeah, on a 2 plus, she gets return to play with all their wounds remaining, placing as close as possible to previous positions and more than 1 inch away from any enemy models. So more than 1 inch away from any enemy models. But the Healing Tears doesn't say that. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's not make sense rules. It's actual rules. No, actually write them out. So, Triumph of St. Catherine. Okay. Uh, where's this model? Oh, okay. No, that's a different one. I don't know what this model is. It's silly. So let's go into what it is. Triumph of King St. Catherine is a single model equipped with 6 bolt pistols, the Martyr Sword, relic weapons, frag grenades, crack grenades. You can only include one of this model in your army. Triumph of St. Catherine is 185 points. So she has a 3 plus 3 plus, and then Strength Toughness 3, 3 plus save. Praesidium Protectiva, she has a 4 plus invulnerable save. When resolving an attack made against this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. And okay. And she also has 18 wounds. Yeah, 18 wounds and 6 pistols. So I don't know. Relic weapons and the Martyr Sword. When the bearer fights, no more than 4 attacks can be made with this weapon. Because she has a remaining wounds chart. Okay, so she she starts with 5 relics and 14 attacks. And then she at 5 to 9 she drops to 8 attacks and 2 relics, and then at 1 to 4 she has 6 attacks and 1 relic. So the Martyr Sword is plus 3 strength, so that's strength 6, AP minus 3, and damage 2. And the relic weapons is plus 2 strength, so that's strength 5, AP minus 1, and 1 damage. So can still punch Marines in the dick, and that's the end of them. Fiery Heart, morale test taken for friendly sisters units within 6 inches of this model are automatically passed. Solemn Procession, this model cannot embark upon a transport. Okay. Relics of the Matriarchs. This model has a number of relics as detailed in the damage table above. Each relic grants this model an ability as follows. This model can only have one of each relic. When this model suffers damage, reduces its number of relics. Select which of the relics and their abilities this model no longer has. If this model regains lost wounds, that increases its number of relics. Select which of the relics and their abilities this model regains. Okay. Censor of the Sacred Rose at the start of each turn, gain 1 Miracle Dice. Cool. Simulacrum of the Avon Chalice. At the start of your shooting phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model, adding 1 to the result of the unit being rolled for as a Psyker and 1 to the result of the unit being rolled for as a Chaos unit. On a 5 plus, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. Okay. Petals of the Bloody Rose. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by models and friendly sister units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. Icon of the Valorous Heart. Once per phase, you can perform 1 act of faith for a friendly unit within 6 inches that has the acts of faith ability, even if you have already performed 1 or more acts of faith in that phase. In other words, you can give an order twice. So that's cool. Simulacrum of the Argent Shroud. When you perform an act of faith for a friendly unit whilst it is within 6 inches of this model, you can increase or decrease the value of 1 morale dice used by one. Read that wrong. You increase or decrease the value of 1 miracle dice used by 1 before you use it to a maximum of 6 and a minimum of 1. This is not cumulative with any other abilities that can increase or decrease the value of a miracle dice, e.g. the Dialogus Stirring Rhetoric ability. So that's not bad. It's toughness 3 though, so you'll be getting wounded a lot, and it's just a 4+ invulnerable. So let's move on here to the next one. Junith Eruta. She's toughness 4 because she's on some kind of angelic platform with guns, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, she has 2 heavy flamers. That's what that is. Okay. And the Mace of Castigation. So she's 2+2+, and then Strength 3, 4. Or Strength 3, Toughness 4. 7 wounds, 4 attacks, and 3+ save. She has a Rosarius for 4+ invulnerable. The Mace of Castigation is +2, -1, and 2 damage. And then she has 2 heavy flamers, so it's heavy d6. Sure. And of course, all the characters so far have had Axe of Faith, Sacred Rites, and Shield of Faith. So she has Fiery Conviction, reroll hit rolls of 1, and wound rolls for 1 for attacks made by models in friendly Order of Our Ladies units while their unit is within 6 inches of this model. And this model's faction keyword is not order in hyphens; it's an Order of Our Martyred Lady character. So the So like that's why Celestine and Triumph of Saint Catherine don't have orders. They don't benefit from the orders. But she does benefit from the Order of Our Martyred Lady. So let's see. Where's the Order of Our Martyred Lady? Add 1 to the wounds characteristic of this warlord. It's just in case you can make them your warlord. Increase the warlord save characteristics by 1. So she has a 3+ save. So cool, you could do that, I guess. It's just funny. So I just find it funny. And the Order of Our Martyred Lady. So her order doesn't do anything to her because she doesn't have a unit that she can lose models in. So the order doesn't do anything for her. But you can buff her to 8 wounds and a 2+ save, I guess. So there's that. So the Pulpit of St. Holine's Basilica, the invulnerable save, friendly sisters infantry models received from the Shield of Faith ability is improved by 1 to a maximum of 4+, whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. So you can see there's a theme here. When this model is destroyed, roll 1d6 before removing it from play. On a 6, it explodes, and each unit within 3 inches suffers 1 mortal wound. Okay. So it's not that it's bad. It's just she's running around on her heavy flamer equipped dais, and to let the heretics know it's time to burn. Missionary. A missionary has same crap they've always had. They're bad. 4+, 4+. So they can have a shotgun, so there's something. They have 4+ invulnerable. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of models in Adeptus Ministorum infantry and Astra Militarum infantry units, whilst their unit is within 6 inches of any friendly models with this ability. Does that mean Ogrins get better? I don't know. I know they're infantry, but I don't know if they count as Astra Militarum. They are probably their own special little sub whatever, so they probably won't get it. But anyway, but it gives you add 1 to the attacks characteristics. So if you want to bring some Catachans along and have some infantry, not just for the the artillery buff, but for the infantry +1 strength. Hey, cool. You get +1 to the attacks characteristic. So, lone mission, if your army is battle-forged, no more than one missionary can be included in any detachment. Okay. This is why I was saying you might want to field 3 sisters detachments because of things like this. So you can spread your missionaries out, right? And then have your useless conscripts running around. I don't know, whatever. Word of the Emperor. Maybe your combined squads, whatever. You know what I mean? So, Word of the Emperor. Roll an d6 when Adeptus Ministorum model flees while its unit is within 6 inches of any friendly model with this ability. On a 4+, that model fears God himself and does not flee. Awesome. Okay, so it's just another character. So no shield of faith, no axe of faith, sacred rites, etc. They're not sisters of battle. So battle sister squad can be 5 to 15. The weapon skill is 4+, but skill 3+, 3. They really haven't changed. They get a special weapon. They can have a weapon from heavy weapons or a special weapon list. Yeah, you can have Simulacrum Imperialis, and the Sister Superior can have melee weapons, a pistol weapon, or ranged weapon, and can have an Incensor Cherub. They get the Act of Faith, Sacred Rites, Shield of Faith, etc. Simulacrum Imperialis. If a model in this unit has a Simulacrum Imperialis, then once per phase you can perform 1 act of faith for this unit, even if you already performed 1 or more acts of faith in that phase. Yeah, so you can have 2 acts of faith. So, I don't know. Maybe I missed something somewhere. So let me go back here and just quickly jump to the front of this section and read the acts of faith part again. Perform 1 act of faith in each phase. Okay. All right. So basically, it lets you do it in multiple phases. That's what I was checking with. Was like, because before I was saying maybe you can have your warlord do stuff, but I know there's things that let you do it. I just didn't know if any of those would apply to the warlord. The Simulacrum Imperialis is just for the unit itself. So, all right. So maybe you can't do stuff with the warlord, but you can do stuff with another unit and say, hey, I'll add this dice here and do something different. So the warlord method still works. It's just you can't get multiple dice rerolls. I don't think, except for that CP mode where you could. So Incensor Cherub. If this unit has an Incensor Cherub that once per battle at the beginning of phase, that Incensor Cherub can intercede. If it does, that Incensor Cherub is removed from play and you gain 1 miracle dice. Roll 2d6 when you do so and select which one to keep. The miracle dice you gain can only be used to perform an active phase for this unit and only in that phase. At the end of the phase, if the dice has not been used, it is lost. And an Incensor Cherub is represented by a model, does not count as a model. And while a unit with it is on the battlefield, it has to be within 2 inches of it. So it doesn't matter, but it has to be there. It's a marker, and it's stupid for them to put these stupid rules in. All right, so cool. You can use miracle dice and get a good one, and hopefully roll high, and use that for firing your multi-melta. At the beginning of a phase, you can intercede. Cool, and it's it's a little baby. So let's see. Sorry. Junith Ruta is 110 points. Okay. Being a buffer and being able to reroll hits of 1 and wound rolls of 1 seems good. So, and the missionary is 38 points because why not? Oh, all right. So, Battle Sisters. The stuff I wanted to look at is just to see what you can actually create. So, so I have to look here and see what's what. So the ranged weapons, I gotta figure out where they've got that hidden because don't put it someplace where everybody could actually find it. Oh, nope, it's not this section. It's in front of this stuff, right? But at the end of the army list because reasons. So, there you go. Warrior gear list. Heavy weapons are heavy bolters, heavy flamers, and multi-meltas. And yeah, so and the special weapons are flamer, meltagun, and stormbolter. So you can have 2 stormbolters just like you could before if you want to. You can have 2 flamers, 2 meltaguns, a flamer and a meltagun, whatever. But what I want to see is what the Sister Superior can have. She can have 1 weapon from the melee weapons list. So melee weapons. Let's see. Excuse me. I don't see a 1 weapon from the ranged weapons list. So she can have a combi flamer or combi melta. And then she can have 1 weapon from the pistols list. And the pistols, there you go. That's what I was looking for. So she can. So the reason I'm looking this up is because of the Holy Trinity CPs, right? Let me find it again. It's the other page. Holy Trinity. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase after you have declared how you will split the shots of a sister's unit. If you shoot everything at the same target and the target is within the range of at least 1 bolt weapon, 1 flame weapon, and 1 melta weapon, being shot by a model in the unit until the end of that phase, resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So let's say, for example, you can't fire pistols and anything else. So what you do is you say, I will replace her hand flamer, and then I want 2 melta guns. Okay, that's what you decide to do. I want 2 melta guns. She's going to have a hand flamer. Of course, the hand flamer has terrible range. Let's see, ranged weapons. H hand flamer, 6-inch range on the hand flamer, but it is a pistol, right? So you get within 6 inches and you can fire, and you fire your 2 melta guns. You fire everything else, and then for your efforts, you're rewarded with you get to add 1 to the wound roll for all of your shots. So that way you can say, I'll take a hand flamer. And a hand flamer is 1 point. Right, so it's pretty efficient. You take the 2 melta guns on the regular battle sisters, and you have the hand flamer, and then you can still run up and Trinity somebody as long as they're within 6 inches, so the pistol goes off, right? Or you can buy a combi flamer. Combi flamer is 8 points. See, so if you're trying to trigger that, and I think it's a good thing to do to add 1 to the wound roll, then hey, you do it that way. So, and that's going to probably be true throughout the book, so I only have to do it once. So in the Battle Sisters, they're 9 points each. So models per unit, 515. So anyhow, Preacher, that's the next thing I'm going on to. Preacher, icon of the Saint Eccles, the Ecclesiarchy. While sending Preacher units from the army within 6 inches of any enemy chaos units, they subtract 1 from their leadership. He's a zealot, so he gets rerolls to hit, I think, is what that does in this army. He has a 4+ invulnerable save, 4 wounds. He's 4+, 4+, and strength toughness 3. And he adds 1 to the attack's characteristics of models. And yeah, so basically, the Preacher is I don't even know what is it. I'm looking. Hold on. Okay, I have to look in a different section. Okay, so named characters, elites. A Preacher is an elite. Okay, that's what I thought. So he's just the missionary. So the book is really laid out quite poorly. So even though you generally know if you've read enough Games Workshop stuff, it just says character, infantry, ministorum, priest, missionary, right? That's what it is. Okay, cool. What what exactly is it? Because the preacher is virtually the same, right? He just he has he's the guy on the street yelling that the world is coming to an end. So he doesn't have as many rules, sorry, as many weapon choices as that guy. He has a last pistol and chainsword. You know, you're not going to upgrade it, but and while the war hymns adds one to stuff, he has war hymns as well. Um, so yeah, I, I don't get it. So basically, the preacher can run around and buff everybody with Adeptus Ministorum infantry or Astra Militarum infantry can get buffed up by these. They're the same. Except the preacher is 30 points and the missionary is 38. Um, it's yeah. You just lose a couple of weapon options, but you're there for the war hymns. So um, anyway, Gemini Superior. Um, this unit contains one Gemini Superior. It can additionally contains one more. Every model is equipped with bolt pistol, blah blah blah. So these are flying things, I guess. Yeah, jump packs. Divine Guardians. If your army is battleforged, this unit does not take up a slot in a detachment that includes a Celestine model. This unit can never have a Warlord trait or any relics. When a friendly Celestine model within 3 inches of this model will lose any wounds as a result of an attack made against that model, this unit can attempt to intercept that attack. On a 2+, that model does not lose those wounds, and this unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each of those wounds. Only 1 attempt can be made to intercept each attack. And they're just they're not very good. They are what they are. They have power swords, and they well they have a jump pack, so they move 12 and they can keep up with her. But you're only having 2 of them, so they're just an extra unit, I guess. But they're characters, so you can say no, they won't die, and you can bring them back, I guess. But if Saint Celestine takes 4 mortal wounds, the whole unit poofs. The Gemini Superior are 16 points per model for extra wounds for Saint Celestine. So, or you just take them by themselves. They're flying characters, right? They're sisters of battle. They're not great. They're strength 3, 3 attacks. So they're 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 not good. Um, but they're cheap. They're 16 points. So then there's Repentia Superior. That's the next one. Single model equipped with Nora whips. So she has the standard sisters line, 3s across the board. Um, uh, when resolving an attack made with this weapon against a unit other than a vehicle unit which has no model, wait, against a unit in which no model has a leadership character higher than 7, add 1 to the wound roll. So if you lose your sergeant and your leadership 7 on all your guys, you become they start at strength 3, so then you're winning Marines on a 4+ because they're neural whips, because your sergeant is dead, I guess. Scourge of the Penitent. This model does not take up a slot in a unit it does not take up a slot in a detachment that includes any order sister Repentia units. Driven forward, you can reroll advanced rolls and charge rolls made for friendly sisters Repentia units. While they are within 6 inches of this model, you can reroll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made with the weapon models by models in friendly sister Repentia units while they're within 6 inches of this model. So neat. And despite having a 3+ and 4 wounds, there's no invulnerable save, so she's not hard to pick off once you can get to her. Sisters Repentia contains 4 of them, and they can contain up to 5 more. Every model is equipped with Penitent Eviscerator, which is strength times 2, so strength 6, AP -3, 2 damage, and subtract 1 from the hit roll because it's ungainly. They have Axe of Faith, Sacred Right, Shield of Faith, and Zealot. Martyrdom, when the unit is destroyed, other than in the morale phase, gain 1 miracle dice. So if they run like cowards, you don't gain it, otherwise you do. Solace and Anguish, when a model in this unit would lose a wound, roll 1d6 on a 5+, that wound is not lost. So there's that. And they have a, sometimes I wonder why Games Workshop writes rules, and it always confuses me. So their save is a 7 plus. Yes, really, 7 plus. So when you're going to be sticking your Sisters of Repentia behind a wall to get a cover save, cool, they have a 6 plus save. Isn't that exciting? I don't know what to say. There, yeah. So, yeah, and their weapon skill 3 plus. Their weapon skill doesn't matter because they don't have any guns to shoot with. So, Celestian Squad, they have the standard stats. There's still just 1 wound. There's 5 to 10 of them. It can contain 1 Celestian Superior instead of 1 Celestian. So the Celestian Superior costs you money, points. Um, so let's see, we get 1 weapon. They're the same as Battle Sisters. Yeah. The unit can have an incense or cherub, and it's the same weapon outfit. It's the same. So what they get, besides having that really good stratagem, which lets them reroll hits into wounds, they have Bodyguard. When a friendly character within 3 inches of this unit would lose any wounds as a result of an attack made against that model, this unit can attempt to intercept that attack. On 2 plus, they don't lose it, and this unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each of those wounds. And so you would eat multiple mortal wounds. So if you lose 4 Celestians if you absorbed 4 hits that way. So Swarm Protectors, you can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by models in this unit while it's within 6 inches of any friendly canonesses. So that's good. So I see people will be running Celestians in large numbers. And everything else is the same. So, yeah. Oh, and Celestians are, let's see, troops, fast tech, elites. They're 10 points per model. So, yep. And then we go to, hold on, I just want to reread a particular rule. Yeah, it's only troops that gain the special stuff, and Celestians aren't troops. So they don't get the objective secured stuff. All right, Zephyrim Squad, whatever Zephyrim Squad is. This unit contains 1 Zephyrim Superior. Is this like Diablo? Like, whatever. So you're going to have 5 to 10. And they get a Power Sword. Okay, so they're probably going to be more expensive than other stuff. That would be my guess. So they're elites, right? Zephyrim. Oh, they're the jump pack troops, or a jump pack troop. Zephyrim Superior gets 1 plasma pistol instead of 1 bolt pistol. She can have a Zephyrim pennant if she's equipped with a bolt pistol. They just have bolt pistols and power swords. Okay. So what's a Zephyrim squad cost? 13 points per model. They're strength 3, so okay. So let's see what they get. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model unit, you can reroll the wound roll because you can't fucking wound anything because you're strength 3. Zephyrin Pennant, you can reroll charge rolls made for order units while they're within 6 inches of any friendly units with a Zephyrin Pennant when the roll is made. Okay, so that's a reason to take them, I guess. So you land them behind your Arcoflagellants right before the Arcoflagellants try to roll in, and ta-da, they go in. Assuming the Arcos are part of the order, but I don't think that they are. So something else maybe, whatever. So during deployment, you can set up this unit in the sky instead of setting them on the battlefield. Okay, and then Angelic Visage, the invulnerable save models in this unit receive from the Shield of Faith ability is improved by 1 to a maximum of 4 plus. So 4 plus is the maximum, but you can have somebody else who improves your invulnerable save, so they would have a 4 plus invulnerable running around. But they still only have bolt pistols and power swords, and they're not what I would call good. But they do have jump packs, so there's that, I guess. So the Dialogus, they have a Dialogus staff. They have a loud hailer because they can't spell it right. They add one to the leadership characteristic of sisters within 6 inches of that model. Special fortitude. When this model will lose a wound as a result of mortal wound in the second phase, roll d6 on a 5+. That wound is not lost. Stirring rhetoric. When you perform an act of faith for a model or unit while it is within 6 inches of any friendly model with these abilities, you can increase or decrease the value of one miracle dice used by one before you use it to a maximum of 6 and a minimum of 1. This is not cumulative with any other abilities that can increase or decrease the value of a miracle dice, e.g. the Triumph of St. Catherine's Relics of the Matriarch's ability. But still, a Dialogus is 35 points, so you can move it up or down and say my 5 becomes a 6, so my Exorcist can hit you again, right? That's what that does. Hospitaller is a single model equipped with bolt pistol and Chirurgeon's tools. Medicus Ministorum. At the end of your movement phase, this model can provide medical attention to one friendly sisters infantry unit within 3 inches of it. If a model has lost any wounds, it regains up to D3. Otherwise, any model has been destroyed, it returns into battle with one wound remaining. Placing it within 3 inches of the model in unit coherency. Each unit can only be provided medical attention once per turn. And it says you can only provide it to one. So if you have multiple hospitalers, you can only, give them out to, each can do one. And that guy's 35 points. 35 points to bring back a one wound guy doesn't seem really good. And it's only infantry, so whatever. Imagifier, this is the one I've actually been looking forward to see. I've been waiting for the review to actually read it. Litany of deeds during deployment. After you set up this model on the field, set up one of the following tales. Remember, you can make it so that one of your imagifiers can have two. Tale of the Faithful. You can re-roll, deny the witch test, take it for models while they're within 6 inches of this person. So, hey, more anti-psyker stuff. And it's actually effective, but isn't bullshit like null rods. Okay, they have null rods, but you know what I mean. You're not going to null rod the person who's got the null rod. You're not going to kill them with your psychic smite, but it's not like before where you could assign it to like a sister superior in a unit and then just run around and go, I'm not affected by psychic powers, so I'm going to fuck you up now. And there was also a power weapon back then. So, Tale of the Stoic, weapons with an armor penetration characters of -1. As cheating have an armor value penetration of 0, resolving attacks against order units while they're within 6 inches of any friendly models with this ability. So -1 becomes 0. Neat. Tale of the Warrior, add 1 to the strength characteristics of models in order units while the unit is within 6 inches of any friendly models with this ability. So anybody who's got the order tag gets +1 strength. Cool. Katachin lives in the Sisters. Crusaders, this unit contains 2 Crusaders and can have up to 2 or 4 more, so you can have 6. Everybody has a Storm Shield and a power weapon. Ecclesiarchy, Battle Conclave. If your army is Battleforged, this unit does not take up a slot in the detachment. Includes any Mindstorm priests. They have a 3+ invulnerable, and they dodge mortal wounds in the psychic phase on a 5+. So their weapon skill is 3+, BS is 4+, not that it matters. They do have Zealot, and they have 1 wound, 2 attacks each. So the Crusaders are 9 points, so that's not terrible. 63 points for a unit of Crusaders. Their leadership 7, but so they'll just get killed by bolt weapons. But it is what it is. They're not an order unit, but they're still good for what they do. Death Cult Assassins, that contains 2, or it contain up to 4 or 6. They have a 5+ invulnerable save. They have Zealot. They don't count against you if you have a Ministorum Priest. They are weapon skill 3+. They're strength 4 though. They just don't have the 3+ invulnerable save, so they will just fold to everything. They're just toughness 3 still. They have a 5+ invulnerable save because of uncanny reflexes, and that's that. So in Death Cult Assassins are 13 points. So I wish that would make sense because it doesn't seem to. Yeah, the power sword and the Death Cult Power Blades are the same. It's strength user, AP -3, damage 1. So, okay. If you have these models, you can still use them. Also, fuck you, buy other models. That's basically what that says to me. They cost more than the people with the 3+ save, and they move 1 inch faster. Woo, that's totally 4 points per model. I don't know. Arcoflagellants, there we go. Weapon skill 4+, strength 4, 2 wounds each. It contains 3, and it can contain up to 2 more or up to 7 arcoflagellants. Arcoflagellants are 3 to 10. Yeah, so you can have 5 or 10. And so you can have 3, 5, or 10. Sorry. And it contains 1 endurant instead of 1 arcoflagellant. Every model is equipped with arcoflails. And an endurant has 1 more attack. That's all it has. Berserk killing machines. When you lose a wound on a 5+, you feel no pain. Their save is a 7+, so they're not saving nothing. So they don't have they're not an order unit. They do have zealot, so that's good. I have not mentioned it in a while. When a zealot is when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in this unit, you can reroll the hit roll if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn. So they move 7 inches. So they're not terrible. They'll get shot a lot. They're only toughness 3, so they'll take a lot of wounds. And they also don't take up a slot in attachment that includes any Ministorum priests. So you take a Ministorum priest, and you get the Battle Conclave. And let's go look at that rule again. And so the priestly delegation rule for the army says a detachment that does not include any Ministorum priests can only include 1 Ecclesiarchy Battle Conclave unit. So if you have exceeded your allotment of elites, you buy a Ministorum priest, and if your army is battle forged, this unit doesn't take up a slot. That includes any Ministorum priest. So you take an Ministorum priest and you go, here's my Arcoflagellants. This is you can pick your poison and say what you want to beat the other person up with in close combat. That's all. Dominion squads are the special weapon specialists. They're otherwise identical to the Sisters of Battle. They do have Vanguard. Before the first turn begins, this unit can move as if it were your movement phase. They have to end more than 9 inches away. That's it. That's it. They're exactly the freaking same as a Sisters squad. They just have 5 to 10. Nothing's really changed. So the Seraphim squad, which is different than the Zephyr whatever squad, has this one has 2 bolt pistols. That one has bolt pistol and power weapon. That's where all the Canonist models went, by the way, was into the Zephyr squad, right? So they can have 2 hand flamers, 2 inferno pistols, and the Sister Superior can just have a plasma pistol, bolt pistol, chainsword, power sword, and yeah, they have their choice. It's quite limited. Angelic Visage, so their Shield of Faith ability goes up by 1 to a maximum 4+, and they can also Deep Strike just like the others. So now they did have, I believe they have a stratagem. Right? So let's see, Deadly Descent. Yeah. 1 CP, use a stratagem after a Seraphim squad unit from your army is set up on the battlefield from behind the sky. Until the end of that phase, add 6 inches to the range characteristic of pistol weapon models in that unit are equipped with. The unit can shoot as if you were shooting phase. That's so you can shoot the 2 hand flamers or the 2 inferno pistols, right? So the hand flamers are only 1 point each. The inferno pistols are 7 points each. So since they have to be more than 9 inches away, they have to, have better range than 6 inches. So, and the Seraphim being fast attack. So the Dominions are 10, the Seraphim are 11. So yeah, so not really much has changed there. The dominions are still good. You just bring a Dominion Superior along who actually has a hand flamer, and then you can bring 4 melta guns and rerolls, and that seems good. Because you don't need to wound stuff, you just need to fire the hand flamer, which can't hurt the knight you're shooting the melta guns at. Um, Gets engulfed in flames and makes you hit it and wound it better, and it's silly, but that's what you get. So, and that would be a 5-person suicide squad. They're gonna, drive up. Next turn, they're gonna get out, run up, and that's that. They're gonna shoot something you want dead, and then they're gonna get killed because there's 5 toughness 3+ save people. So now we're on the heavy support stuff because that was fast attack. So yeah, this is heavy support. So Exorcist. Let's go through this. I don't think I missed anything. Nope. Didn't take long. Exorcist. So it's toughness 8, 12 wounds, 3+ save. It's got a descending, 3+ ballistic skill is how it starts. And it has 2 different weapons now. So you choose what you want, and the Exorcist base weapon is still, it's 90 for the Exorcist, but then you actually look at the conflagration rockets are 40 and the missile launcher is 70, so it's still 160 for the anti-tank version. But there's an anti-infantry version now, so let's look at that, which is a little odd. But this finally, the Exorcist has Acts of Faith, Sacred Rites, and Shield of Faith, so it has an invulnerable save. You can increase it, right? So this is good. The Exorcist has finally grown up and is a real tank. Hold on, I'm going to take another drink. All right. So, yeah, you get Exorcist conflagration rockets instead of the Exorcist missile launcher. And that's it. So let's talk about the weapons. So the Exorcist conflagration rockets is heavy 3d6. It's strength 5, AP -2, damage 1, 48-inch range. There's no indirect fire. Okay, that just doesn't have it. There's not a thing there. It's not a whirlwind. So then there's the Exorcist missile launcher, which is your traditional strength 8, AP -3, d6 damage. However, it's now heavy 3d3. Maybe that's what it was before. I have no idea. I just remember the 1d6 crap. But you do have the ability to modify 1 Exorcist per shooting phase, and I guess technically you can also in Overwatch you can re-roll the number of shots you're taking with it. But remember, it gets Acts of Faith. Okay, so you could have 9 shots. You're still only going to be able to change one of those hit rolls. See what I'm saying? You can only change 1 hit roll. You're only going to auto hit once. You still got to fire 3d3 shots. So you have 3 to 9 shots. So that's better than what they were before. But you're still not able to fire multiple shots into the same target. Like that's a Elitok aircraft beyond 12 and flying, and you can't hit it that way. So let's see if I can find it. Probably not quickly because there's so many of these things. There you go. Devastating refrain. Use this stratagem when an Exorcist model from your army fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of the phase, you can reroll any or all of the dice rolled to determine the type characteristic of an Exorcist missile launcher or Exorcist conflagration rockets that model is equipped with. So you tend to get more shots. Cool. Then you have the there's another one you have to do. Yeah. So this one, so basically your Order of the Valorous Heart stratagem, which is where your exorcists for your army go in your other detachment, right? Because you gotta split them between your 3 different detachments. You're gonna run a Pure Sisters force. You go, the exorcists are going over there, or at least the one exorcist is. But it says select one Order of the Valorous Heart unit from your army until the end of that phase. When resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, ignore hit roll modifiers. So you can say I can do my rerolls. and then I can open fire with that, and there you go. And that's one way you can do it, right? And then you can hurt people with that. So that's a way to do it. The heavy 3d6, strength 5, AP -2, 1 damage option. I don't know. It doesn't have indirect fire. It doesn't seem very good. Um, it's strikingly it strikes me as underwhelming. So, um, but the heavy D3 shots, if you want to kill tanks and you have exorcists and they have a couple people standing around them to give them 4+ invulnerable to shrug off shots at them, that's the way to do it. So remember, there's really only the one relic that gives you modifiers to being shot at. So you're going to get shot at on people's full BS, and whatever saves you got is what you've got, and that's the end of it. However, we do want to check the so Order of the Valorous Heart. So it does matter. So let's go over here. The Valorous Heart is the ones that say, you're not going to hit me. So yeah, so the order convictions, Exorcist does say order. Okay, so you're going to put this on the detachment of 3 exorcists, and you're going to say that's my valorous heart stoic endurance, and I have a friend around them to increase their invulnerable save to a 5+. Or if you want to, you spend extra points, and you can go up to a 4+. And then when you would lose a wound on a 6, that wound is not lost. But also when you're getting shot at by AP1 or AP2, obviously you want to sit can cover, so you have a 2+ save. Those don't do anything. Those become AP0, so you have a 2+ save. And then you can fire one of them at an enemy aircraft and shoot it out of the sky. That's the idea. Okay. So moving on to the next unit, it's mortifers. These are basically the same thing as the penitent engines are. So this unit contains 1 mortifer. It can initially contain up to 5 more. So think of these as the kill the cans for the Sisters of Battle, right? It can contain 1 anchorite, which doesn't do shit. Oh, there you go. An anchorite has +1 better save, so it's a 3+ save instead of a 4+. Their weapon skills are 3 up. Their strength, toughness, and wounds are 5, and their attacks are 4. So every model is equipped with 2 heavy bolters and 2 penitent flails. Cool. So they have heavy bolters. And any model can be equipped with 1 heavy flamer instead of 1 heavy bolter, or 2 heavy flamers instead of 2 heavy bolters. And they can have 1 penitent buzzblade instead of 1 flail, or both buzzblades instead of both penitent flails. The buzzblade is so the penitent flail is +1 strength, -2 AP, 1 damage, and you make 3 hit rolls for every attack made with it. And you can make an additional attack if you attack with 2 of them. The buzzblade, you're equipped with 2 of them. You make 1 additional attack. It's strength +3, so it's strength 8, AP -3, damage 2. So, and the heavy flamer and heavy bolter aren't any different, but the BS and weapon skill are 3+, so that's fine. Anguish of the Unredeemed when yeah. So this is entertaining. Okay, why they want you to buy this. When a model in this unit is destroyed, roll 1d6 before removing it from play. On a 4+, it meets out its final vengeance. Make sure you command point that. And each enemy unit within 1 inch suffers d3 mortal wounds. That's good. So, you're gonna, like, if a guy's gonna die, pick the one that's near 2 enemy units, I guess, if you can. They have no reprieve, so on a 6+, they ignore losing any wound. Blaze of Agony. When you choose this unit to shoot within your shooting phase, you can choose for heavy bolters that models in each unit are equipped with to have a type characteristic of Assault 3 until the end of that phase. Or for heavy flamers that models in this unit are equipped with to have a type characteristic of Pistol D6 until the end of that phase. Holy shit. So that's really good, because you're going to fuck shit up with that. I haven't seen a Mortifier model, but they seem to have the same stat line as the Penitent Engine. But that's really good because, the pistol, D6 times 2. Remember, you get 2 heavy bolters, 2 penitent flails. So and can be equipped with 1 heavy flamer instead of 1 heavy bolter. So a mortifier is 55 points. And let's see, a heavy bolter is 10 points, so that makes them 75 points each, and the heavy flamer is 14 points. But man, getting that stupid thing into combat and just being able to go, here's my pistol D6, and it automatically hits you, that seems good. And you can do the pistol and the other pistol if you have two heavy flamers. Anyhow, the heavy bolter is not like the new suit, the war suit, the Invictus war suit that the Space Marines got, where they can change the heavy bolter to pistol 3 because they have the other option. So, but they can make it, yeah, you can make it so it can run forward, advance, and still shoot its heavy bolters at you. It's a -1, but they have a BS of 3+, so that's fine. So they're expensive. So, but I don't think I don't think the points are correct. I think it's actually just 55. Because it's not that you're getting that, it's being changed for. So these weapons, yeah, the penitent buzzblades aren't listed. So that's what I would assume here is they're not actually 75 points. They're just 55 points, and they come with two heavy bolters, or one heavy flamer, or two heavy flamers, and same with the flails and buzzblades. So that's cool. But the Blaze of Agony is really like, oh, all right. So let's look at the penitent engines real quick, because they have the same stats. Their weapon skill is a 4+, unlike the other guys who's a 3+. So the sorry, I'm looking for it. Yeah, so the mortifiers are 36 points each. Penitent engines are 28 points each, and the models per unit is 1 to 4 on both of them, right? So yeah, so that's a mistake. In the back. So the mortifier says it can additionally contain up to 5 mortifiers. Yeah, so that's a screw up. In the points values on page 110, mortifiers are models per unit 1 to 4. Penitent engines 1 to 4. So I'm assuming they fucked up. So yeah, but I would assume it's the same as the penitent engines, right? Is 1 to 4 is what it should be. So otherwise, it's like, oh look, I have a whole bunch of stuff I can run. So the penitent engine can usually contain up to 3 penitent engines, right? Every model is equipped with 2 heavy flamers, 2 penitent flails. They can have penitent buzzblades instead of the flails, but they don't get any other cool options. And I don't know if a mortifier unit looks the same as a penitent engine. Penitent engines are tall, goofy-looking things. I hate how they look. So if the mortifier is the same, even though they're really good, I probably wouldn't want to buy them. I would sub out a unit, like a different model for them, because they're ugly. They're just shit ugly. Like I get what they were going for, but they have a very much Bretonia, zealot look. They're just say no. But anyway, with the penitent engines, I realized I skipped over the Retributor Squad. I did that for a reason. So the penitent engines are basically the same stats. They move 7. They have a 4+ save. Their weapon skill is 1 worse. The mortifiers even move faster. They move 9 inches. I'd rather they just say you can mod your old penitent engines and make the mortifiers be the new model. And I don't know why they did that. Whatever. So let's go to the Retributor Squad. I'm assuming they haven't really changed any. So weapon skill 4+, they're the same stats as all the other sisters. They get heavy weapons instead of bolt guns for them. And remember, if you want the Simulacrum Imperialis, you have to run the Slanesh magic number of 6 at a minimum, because you have to have a bolt gun. And if you replace the bolt gun on the Retributor sister, Superior, well, she's not a Retributor, which is just stupid, but it is the way that it is. So you have to have the extra Retributor to have the Simulacrum Imperialis, so you can perform 2 acts of faith per phase on these units. And this unit gets an Armorium Cherub, or it can have 2 Armorium Cherubs. Oh boy, time to read new rules. So, faithful advanced models in this unit do not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons. Rights of fire add 4-inch to the range characters of heavy flamers models in this unit are equipped with. So don't fuck with retributors with heavy flamers, especially they take the ability to go. I max out my dice damage, so they can hit you at 12 inches. So that's pretty good. Okay, so let's see what this does. Armorium Cherub. If this unit has an Armorium Cherub, then after a model in this unit shoots with a ranged weapon, that Armorium Cherub can reload that model's weapon. If it does, that Armorium Cherub is removed from play, and that model can immediately shoot with that ranged weapon again. Shit. Sorry, I was. Oh, look, I coughed up a pile of crap. That's amazing. Um, so anyway, it's the same as the other stuff. Doesn't count as anything. So you have 2 of those. So you can fire 6 multi-melta shots, 1 turn. So this leads more to the problems with 40k, which is everything is front-loaded into the game instead of being a game that you win over time with skill, as opposed to I have the most points efficiencies, I have the most alpha strike, and I can survive both of yours, so I win. Fuck you. Also, I rolled a d6 and my d6 rolled a 6 and yours rolled a 3, so I get to go first. So fuck you again. Um, so anyway, Retributor Squad, it's the same. But with the heavy flamers, um, Retributors are good. They have a 12-inch range. That's not something to think about twice. And being able to fire 6 of them, and then being able to take a stratagem and saying, you know what, they all fire max number of shots. That seems good. So I need to look at that again and see what it does or does not apply to, because it does matter. So I just have to hold on a second while I dig up that stuff. So that's Order of the Ebon Chalice. Cleansing Flames. Until the end of the phase, do not roll to determine the type characteristic of flame weapons models in that unit are equipped with. They have their maximum values. So you get 6 times 6, 36 heavy flamer shots. It seems broken. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just an idiot. That could be it. So yeah, so the Retributors, you can say, I will take 2 Armorium Cherubs and the Heavy Flamers, and I'll hit you with 36 Heavy Flamer shots for 2 CP with my Order of the Ebon Chalice stratagem. How do you like me now? You don't like me. Oh, okay, sorry. Anyway, yeah, and moving and firing heavy weapons is good for the heavy bolters, so they can actually move and shoot and get into fucking range if you're that far back. All right, so Sororitas Rhino. They do have an invulnerable save. They have self-repair. They can't transport jump pack models. Okay, it's a Rhino. It has a storm bolter. I don't think you can even get another storm bolter, so it can have a hunter killer missile. All right, moving on. Immolator. So the other ones were strength 7, toughness 10, or sorry, toughness 7, 10 wounds. Same as an immolator. Can equip with one of the following set of immolation flamers: 1 twin heavy bolter, 1 twin multi-melta. So they can carry 6 models, so really nothing's changed. They have a declining damage table, just like the Rhino does. The penitent engines and mortifiers don't. The Exorcist does. So anyway, so the immolation flamers, it basically makes it a hellhound. It's 12 inches, assault 2d6, heavy flamer. So yeah, and then the twin heavy bolter is just a thing. Twin multi-melta is 2 shots. Whoop-de-doo. It is an order unit. It does have Acts of Faith, Sacred Right, Shield of Faith, etc. So an immolator. Apologies. Let me flip back to that. So the immolator is a dedicated transport, and that's 70 points. And it comes with the immolation flamers, so I wouldn't give it anything else. So So anyway, I would say that that's pretty good for 70 points, and you just stick people inside of it and run them forward and jump them out and fry the fuck out of people. All right, so they included a battle sanctum, which I have no idea what it is. Like it's a building, but I don't know what it looks like. Um, so Adeptus Ministorum structure after the setup, this model is treated as an Adeptus Ministorum structure terrain feature. Cannot move. Is not treated as a friendly or enemy model and cannot be targeted or affected by any attacks or abilities. Only infantry, beast, swarms, and units that can fly can set up or end their move on the upper floors of this building. Um, so instead of saying the battle sanctum, it says any of an Adeptus Ministorum structure, any unit can do so on the ground floor. That just creates problems for you later when you're writing your rules and you have something else that's an Adeptus Ministorum structure, but it says, oh, flying units can't land on it because it has spiky bits on the top, and the spiky bits stab you in the feet like you're, a worthless crow, right? Well, so if you say that, you go, yeah, I can, because it says I can do so. It's just silly. Infantry units are soon to be able to scale walls and traverse through windows, doors, and portals readily. Models for infantry units can therefore move through the floors and walls without further impediment. Infantry units that are entirely on or within the structure receive the benefit of cover. Other units that are entirely on may only receive the benefit of cover if at least 50% of every model is obscured from the point of view of the shooting model. Cool. Neat story. Blessings of the Saint at the start of each battle round. If there are any Adeptus Ministorum units from your army within 6 inches of any battle standards, battle sanctums, gain 1 miracle dice. Okay. Add 1 to the leadership characteristic of models in Adeptus Ministorum units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of any battle sanctums. Subtract 1 from models in Chaos units while their unit is within 6 inches of any battle sanctums. I wish it was just non-Imperium. But hey, whatever. Because the Battle Sisters were known for their fight against chaos, right? Come on. So, Battle Sanctum, 50 fucking points. Okay, so it doesn't take much to figure out that you buy a few things here and there. Um, this is just a fortification, but you can take it in your book. So it doesn't burn a detachment. It's just part of your rules. So you can have 3 of them. It's 150 points. If you put them in a circle and you in the middle of the clusterfuck, the circle jerk, you have your preacher, then for about 200 points you generate 3 miracle dice a turn. I doubt it's worth it, but it's something to think about. Things you can do. But it's interesting that it's included. They finally figured out that fortifications are stupid and they need to be included as part of the army. And really, this should just be generic and not a detachment. You just go, I can have 1 of any of them, right? And anyone that they want to have more shouldn't be a building, right? Because what do you have time to build the building? Like, we're gonna fight over here by our holy relic and our preacher, and he's got these 3 buildings around him. You okay with having the fight over there? Okay, cool. Let's go fight. Um, so anyway, I'm not going to go through all of the weapons. I've gone through them, right? And for the most part. So let's talk about the tactical objectives. Oh boy, this took a long time. So tactical objectives. If you have a sister's warlord or a priest warlord, um, these replace tactical the capture and control. Slay the heretic. Score 1 point if at least 1 enemy character unit was destroyed by an Adeptus Ministorum unit from your army during this turn. Armor of Contempt. Score 1 victory points if you made at least 1 successful saving throw using the invulnerable save granted by the Shield of Faith ability during this turn. And or if you made at least 1 successful deny the witch test during this turn. That one seems really easy to get at all times. The first one, not so much because it has to be Adeptus Ministorum unit. So if it's not the dedicated assault units, odds are you're not going to get that, right? So, reclaim the relic. Roll 1d6 when this tactical objective is generated. Score 1 victory point if you control the objective marker whose number corresponds to the d6 result at the end of this turn. What do you do? Trust in the Emperor. Score 1 victory point if you gain 3 or more miracle dice during this turn. Score d3 victory points if you gained 6 or more miracle dice during this turn. The Blood of Martyrs. The score 1 victory point if at least one Sisters unit from your army was destroyed during this turn. Score D3 victory points instead if at least one Adeptus or Aretus character unit from your army was destroyed during this turn. Yeah, so gaining 3 or more miracle dice doesn't seem too hard. Gaining 6 or more does, but I guess there's probably a way you could do it. And as you can see, there's extra ways to generate miracle dice or gain extra miracle dice. So there's a way to build your army around that. And the Blood of Martyrs is just, you get VPs if your shit dies. If your characters die, you get more VPs. But the characters are cheap, so is it worth sacrificing a character? Maybe. I would probably say yes, but a leap of faith. My characters when I played Sisters of Battle, over a decade ago, my characters were the not what people call smash captains. They were tar pits. They would jump up and just turn on their 2+ invulnerable save and wag their fucking finger at people. Don't you go anywhere. And then I'd kill the rest of their army, and then eventually they would take enough hits and fail enough 2+ saves, they would die, and then I would kill whatever killed them. Quite effective, eight acts of faith points, but so what? Anyway, a leap of faith. Score 1 victory point if you performed at least 1 act of faith during this turn. Score D3 victory points instead if you perform 3 or more acts of faith during this turn. Score D3 plus 3 victory points instead if you perform 6 or more acts of faith during this turn. Yes. So to get the D3 plus 3 victory points, you can only do 1 per phase. There's only so many phases, so you have to have the simulacrum. Right, so that's what the simulacrums are for, is to trigger shit like that, and also let you, basically say, here's my melta, here's my active faith to make it hit, here's my active, and I'm using a CP to make sure that it wounds, and then I'm going to roll my heavy flamer. Okay, good. Here I got 5 shots, they all hit, and I rolled 1 bad, wound roll, or I figure I'm going to roll a bad wound, but I have rerolls, so I'll just convert the miracle die and look, it's a 3+. It wounds you anyway, but I got rid of a low dice and I generated another one because reasons, So, so I think there's the 2 ways you want to run the list, a list of Sisters of Battle. I don't know about the close combat stuff. The engines and the mortifiers are just fine. I lean more towards the immolator stuff because having a troop transport hellhound it should make all the Imperial Guard players just rage. An actual useful transport that actually kills stuff, that actually can't just get charged fucking willy-nilly, and not be able to do anything because the fires of your flamer died before the enemy was in range, but they were running into them, but then they fell to the ground, and then they jumped onto your turret and blew you up in a very thematic moment. I don't know. So the immolator itself is good, and you can do plenty of cool things with it. And exorcists, good. Retributors, good. Mortifiers, good. Seraphim, meh. I okay. I look at them as they can buff themselves, and then I want to, like an Imagifier seems good. The the Zephyr squad, which lets you order units can reroll attacks. Well, the things that you can, the Sisters Repentia is basically what you can reroll charge distances on. They're not going to survive. They have a 5+. They're not going to live. That's not what they're going to be able to do. They're not going to fucking live. Even if you drive them up in a fucking Rhino and then get out and try and dodge, it's just like they're not going to live. They're fucking toughness 3 with no save. They have a 5+ save. Like, anybody ever played Death Cult Assassins back in the day? You ever get shot by 3 Space Marines and a guy who was asleep? Yeah, because they die like that easy. So. But you have things like the Triumph of St. Catherine, which lets you buff things around you. That to me is good. Yeah. So you can use different abilities to buff different things. Your Canoness, Lead the Righteous, right, is the thing you can buff and make it a 9-inch. You don't really need to. Reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by models and friendly order units while they're units within 6 inches of this model. Great. So the Canonist stands in your Exorcist farm and fucks shit up. You reroll your ones. If somebody has a flyer that's punishing you, you use the CP on it and you say, you know what, you fuck you. I don't want that shit on the battlefield anymore. And you fire as many shots as you can at it. You can do the reroll thing on it. You can ignore the to hit modifiers and just blow it up. It's strength 8, AP -3, D6 wounds. That will fuck up Imperial Knights. They won't like it. You have enough shots, 3 to 9 shots. You go, oh, I'm going to get 4 or 5 shots. I'm going to get 3 or 4 hits. I'm going to wound twice. Great. That's 2d6 wounds. They're not going to be happy with that shit. Their invulnerable save is only a 5+. So I mean, you're going to be doing significant amounts of damage, and you just say, this is the one I'm going to spend the points on, and I'm going to get the extra hits. I'm going to do the extra damage. And I'm going to convert this dice into a hit. So like I know right like I rolled a 7 for my number of shots. Cool. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to change anything, except before I roll anything, I'm going to do a 2 hit. I'm going to spend a CP and say this is a 6. So I already know I have a hit of a 6 and a wound of a 6. I'm going to pass that dice and reuse it. Okay. There you go. Now, the thing to keep in mind between the vehicles, yes, they get those buffs, but because they don't have the Simulacra Imperialis, you can't fire a multi-melta out of a battle sister squad, and or you can't fire the exorcist rather, like you can the multi-melta out of a battle sister squad. The battle sister is only going to fire once. You can just do a miracle die, right? And that's where your miracle die are most efficient because you're not doing 3 to 9 shots. You're doing a single shot, and you just go here. That hits, and it will wound because I spent a command point. Ta-da! You have an invulnerable save. Okay, because if you don't have an invulnerable save, then bad things are going to happen to your face because I'm going to damage you. And that's what you need to do. That's how you can go. I will damage this heavy unit the way that I want to. This is the way that I need to make sure your unit's going to fuck off. And and you can attrition down enemies that way, and they won't like it. But what can they do about it? So, you sit there and you go, it's -4. And if you get within half range, remember, it's not the range on your weapon, it's the range of your attack. And if your range of your attack is 36 because you have the plus 12 inches and you are firing 6 multi-melta shots, cool. You fired 6 multi-melta shots because you have the armorium crap, right? So you fire that, and yes, you have the simulacrum, so you're going to use the CP and you're going to go, this hit dice is here and it's going to do X. But if you take a Celestian squad, you can just re-roll everything. And I'd rather take that and save my miracle dice for the battle sister squads and just say, yeah, they're going to shoot their infantry attacks over here, and I'm not going to do the Holy Trinity thing because that's only once a turn anyway. But I'm going to fire my multi-melta at you, and that multi-melta is just a 5. Okay, it on a 5, even on a 4, it hits most things. It wounds most things. There's very few things you don't wound on a 4+ with strength 8, right? So you just go, I will hit you. I'll reuse the dice, and I'll wound you, and then you don't have to do anything with the Simulacrum Imperialis, right? It's the other squads who actually want the Simulacrum Imperialis, so you can say, I use the miracle dice, I translate it over to the wound, so I know that's going to go through, right? And then I'm looking at my retributors, and it's like, okay, I'm going to get lots of shots. I want to use my Simulacrum Imperialis. Well, you can do the Act of Faith again and say, I'm going to assign 2 dice, right? That's where you say, I'm going to assign 2 dice to it. And that's the so you can still only do like Faith and Fury, which costs 2 CPs once, right? It's after you perform an Act of Faith for a hit roll. You can re-roll you can reuse the dice for the wound roll, but you can still assign a miracle die for another hit. So you go, Okay, I'm firing 6 shots. I have 2 auto hits. I have 4 other rolls. They hit on 3s because I'm Celestians. And I have a Canonist, so I re-roll my hits of 1. So here we go. Here's my shots. Look, I hit 5 times. I automatically have have like a 5 plus or 4 plus or whatever to wound. Whatever minimum number I need to wound is what miracle dice I'm going to pick up and use, assuming that I have it, right? So, I got a 4 plus. Okay, I hit you on 4s. Okay, sweet. I take that dice out, and that dice is the one that's getting moved over. And then I have another to hit dice. Oh, it's a 3. Okay, I'll just use that because that way I automatically hit you. I don't got to roll it. I roll the others, and then I've used both miracles, all right? But if you're hitting on 3s and you're rerolling 1s, but you're firing at a toughness 8 guy, you don't want to use the active faith on the to hit. You want to use it on the to wound. So you go, here's the to hit. It translates it into a to wound. And then you go to, oh, thank you. And then you go from the, then you go for the to wound miracle. And that to wound miracle lets you take uh, that 4 plus that you would then have without any rerolls, lets you take that away. And so let's say you got 5 hits, you have 1 auto wound, then a second auto wound from the second act of faith from the simulacrum, and then you have three straight rolls. So you're still, have a good shot doing damage, but you don't have rerolls to wound. So you want to use it on the to wound bonus. If you don't have CPs, you just want to say, I'm going to save my dice to do damage this way. And if I want to actually shoot at planes as opposed to something else, if I want to shoot at a plane and I'm not worried about, my to hit modifiers, but if I want to actually make sure I wound, that's when you save the dice for that. So for me, I would say, well, a battle sisters unit is going to get better use out of the multi-melta because you're going to be forwards, so you're going to be in range, so you don't need to increase their range. They can't anyway, right? But I just need to be within 12 inches. But if I'm within 24, cool. But if I'm within 12 of a vehicle, that I'm going to shoot it, right? You may as well just say, I'm going to shoot your Dreadnought or your Rhino or your Chimera or whatever it is you got. I'm within 12. Okay, I'm going to get, because you get 2d6 dice. So you are automatically going to wound, and then with the multi-melta, you get 2 dice, pick the highest. So anyway, so I think people will run either one giant blob of a particular order and struggle a little bit as they don't have all the tools that all the different orders give you, or they will run 2 or 3 orders. I would assume 3, but you might run 2 orders and say, here's the order that has the benefit of this Celestians, and this is my vanguard, and then I have my main one, which is just troops, and they're martyred, and then these other guys are shroud, or sorry, the troops are shroud, so they can just run forward and advance and rapid fire you, which people won't like, especially Marine players, because they will bitch. They'll be like, damn, I wish I had that, and it's like, shut up, you have mission tactics. So anyway, so I think there's lots of interesting stuff that you can do here. It's almost up on 2 hours now, and I've completed my review, and you can see why it is I didn't type it, because I'd rather burn my voice out than actually type all this shit out. So anyway, so hopefully people listen and like it. I'll post up on the YouTube, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, thanks once again. This is Stellic, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.